You might have noticed that I'm not in the Joburg studio. I'm in Cape Town because the city is hosting two important events. The Mining Indaba, which is like the Davos of mining, and the city going into partial lockdown ahead of the State of the Nation address tomorrow. Now, it's the second one under the government of national unity. The president has some good news to deliver, and I'm talking about the stabilization of the electricity supply. But we want to know, where are the jobs coming from? Will we have more money this year or less? Maybe he can elaborate more about our rather confusing foreign policy at a time when it feels that parts of the world are burning. And also the political machinations at play that will determine the outlook for 2026. But right now I'm going to hand you over to Sifiso Zulu in Johannesburg with the rest of the day's news.
Coming up tonight, the stage is being prepared, the red carpet will be rolled out, and the podium is steady ahead of the State of the Nation address. Joburg residents say enough is enough with water woes, and rhino poaching has decreased in South Africa. Hello there, I'm Sifiso Zulu.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
We start in Cape Town, where National Assembly Speaker Thoko Didiza says the State of the Nation address is more than just a ceremonial occasion, serving as a reaffirmation of Parliament's constitutional mandate to hold the executive to account. All three arms of state, including at least two former presidents, have confirmed their presence at the Cape Town City Hall when President Cyril Ramaphosa delivers his 10th address. Parliament will spend around 7 million rand on the occasion, which also includes the delivery of the national budget in 2 weeks' time.
We want to assure South Africans that Parliament is operationally ready, institutionally focused, and firmly committed to ensure that this State of the Nation address sets the tone for a year of intensified oversight, responsive lawmaking, and tangible delivery.
Johannesburg has been yet again thrust into a dry city as water woes continue unabated. Households, businesses, and other critical facilities have been left scrambling for drops of water in some areas for almost a month. Joburgers in Melville, Westdean, and Mauritius decided to protest as a last resort to have water restored.
So basically, we've been gaslit, we've been lied to, we've been misinformed, we've not been informed. And everything cannot be blamed on an old infrastructure because we have video evidence of water gushing down the streets in this area as well, where simply pipes had burst that had been reported often more than a year ago and have not been fixed.
Mayor Dada Morero says Joburg Water is taking decisive action to stabilize the supply network and reduce consumption.
And the indication was that yes, it will take time for the Joburg reservoirs to then pick up and get sufficient water to supply. Where we are now, we are only battling in true sense at the errant reservoir and tower, which is not picking up in the manner in which we wanted to pick it up. So it's sitting at about 2%. But what we have also done with the reservoir is to bypass the reservoir so that the supply of water.
Forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan has denied claims that he and former Independent Police Investigative Directorate head Robert McBride targeted former Acting Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane. O'Sullivan says it's a false narrative that he and McBride were part of a plot to get rid of Phahlane to pave a way for McBride to become the National Commissioner. O'Sullivan was responding to questions from evidence leader Norman Arendse about his alleged influence at IPID and his relationship with McBride.
Because the allegation is that you targeted General Phahlane deliberately, you and Mr. McBride. The purpose being that McBride and you presumably wanted McBride to become the National Commissioner of Police.
But O'Sullivan says it's all false.
That's the narrative, that's a false narrative of both Phahlane and Nkabindi.
The NPA says it does not accept or reject allegations of political interference in Truth and Reconciliation related crimes that are now subjects of an inquiry. The TRC Cases Inquiry kicked off with opening statements 9 months since it was established by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The Commission's work has been experiencing interlocutory applications, including for a call for its chair, retired Justice Sisi Gampepe's recusal. But the Commission is proceeding with its work despite a looming court battle by former Presidents Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma. It's been 23 years since the Truth and Reconciliation Commission wrapped up its work, referring cases to the NPA for prosecution. However, almost none of those cases have made it to a courtroom. Rhino poaching has dropped by 16% since last year in the country. The Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment says a total of 352 rhinos were killed nationally compared to 420 the previous year. Mpumalanga recorded the highest losses with 178 rhino deaths. Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, Willie Okamp, credits the successful decline in part to the Ezemvelo dehorning program.
This also includes the anti-poaching efforts of the private sector, especially that of private rhino owners, who remain great partners in this fight against rhino poaching.
The 11th of February marks significant events in South Africa's history. It has been 36 years since former President Nelson Mandela's release from prison. Mandela was released from the then Victor Vester prison in 1990 after 27 years behind bars. His release signaled a pivotal shift in the country's political and democratic trajectory.
That was a bigger blow than the zoning of District 6 as a white area. People were scattered. It broke up families.
And it has been 60 years since District 6, a mixed-race community, was declared a whites-only area in Cape Town. The Group Areas Act of 1950 reserved the neighborhood exclusively for whites and disqualified all non-residents. The implementation of the law led to forced evictions, which displaced about 60,000 people from a once vibrant and multicultural community. And we leave it on that historic note tonight. Remember to follow our team on all our EWN digital platforms for our extensive State of the Nation address coverage. Thank you for watching.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.